I used to study for hours, not because I wanted to, but because I was scared not to. Every topper video said work harder. Every teacher said revise more. So I did. I studied till my brain felt like mashed potatoes and still forgot everything the next day. That's when it hit me. The system isn't designed to make you smarter, it's designed to make you obedient. And once I stopped studying the way school told me to, my grades went up. My time went down. I finally started to feel smart and not drained. So here's how to study less and still destroy your exams. Chapter 1. Studying in bursts, not marathons. I used to think the longer I studied, the smarter I'd get. 4-hour study marathons felt kind of cool, but here's the truth. Your focus had a battery, and it dies faster than you'd think. After 20 minutes, your brain is basically on autopilot. You're there, but not really there. So, I switched to short and intense bursts. 25 minutes of pure focus, no phone, no distractions, and no excuses. Then 5 minutes off. And I would repeat this. At first, it felt weird. I was convinced I wasn't doing enough, and this method felt kind of stupid. But soon, I realized something crazy. One focused 25-minute session could be 2 distracted hours any day. I absorbed more, remembered more, and even enjoyed studying for the first time in years. Not really. The key is this: quality beats quantity, pretty much always. The thing is, even the best study session can only go so far if your brain doesn't have time to process it. You can focus perfectly for 25 minutes, absorb everything, and feel unstoppable. But if you stay up all night trying to cram it in, your brain won't remember half of it. That's when I realized focus alone won't get anything done. You also need to give your brain some sleep. Chapter 2. Sleep is part of studying. I used to think sleep was the enemy of success. If I study longer, I'll get better grades. Wrong. Sleep isn't downtime. It's when your brain actually consolidates learning. Here's the thing. When you sleep, your brain is like a librarian, sorting every bit of information you absorb that day. Important stuff gets stored on the permanent shelf, and useless stuff gets recycled. Miss sleep, and it's like piling books on the floor with no system. Everything gets lost in chaos. I started prioritizing sleep. Even an extra hour made a huge difference. I remember cramming one night and skipping sleep. I woke up and I didn't remember anything at all. The next night, I slept properly, and the topics that were confusing the day before suddenly clicked. Sleep isn't optional, it's kinda like a superpower. But even with sleep, I realized my brain wasn't truly learning until I put it to the test. Resting helps you store information, but you need to challenge it to make it stick. That's when I started testing myself relentlessly. Chapter 3. Testing yourself relentlessly. Rereading notes, highlighting, rewriting, it feels productive. But your brain isn't actually learning that way. Real studying is active. You need to make your brain work for it. I started quizzing myself constantly. I'll take a topic and try to write out everything I remembered without looking at the notes. When I got stuck, I'd check my notes and then try again. Mistakes weren't like failures. They were like clues showing me exactly where I was lost. I once spent a week learning a chemistry concept. On my first test attempt, I completely blanked. Frustrated, I rewrote it from my memory, checked for errors, and repeated. By the third attempt, I could actually explain it without notes, and I actually passed that chemistry test. That's how memory sticks: the struggle, the fix, the fail, and the repeat. Chapter 4. Know what you already know. Getting a question right once doesn't mean you mastered it. I learned it the hard way. Sometimes I guessed correctly, and sometimes I remembered the exact wording from the solution, but I didn't truly understand the concept. That's really dangerous. So I started being brutally honest, and I'd ask myself some questions. Do I really know this? Can I solve it without looking? If the answer was no, I spent time there. I focused on weak spots, the topics I kept avoiding, and actually tried to fix them. Chapter 5. Use forgetting as your secret weapon. School treats forgetting like failure, but our brains actually need to forget to learn. Each time you forget something and relearn it, the memory becomes stronger. I started spacing out my reviews. Today, 2 days later, then a week later. Each time I revisited a topic, it stuck deeper. No cramming, no panic. just memory that lasts. Before revisiting a topic, I try recalling everything I can at first. It doesn't matter if I got it wrong. The struggling of trying to remember strengthens the memory more than rereading ever could. Forgetting isn't a weakness, it's training. Studying less isn't about shortcuts. It's about hacking your brain, focusing on what matters, and letting your natural rhythm guide you. School teaches you to memorize. Relearn teaches you to think. Stop grinding like a machine and start learning like a human. Thank you for watching the video.